Hello and welcome to GeekVerse Sidequest, your weekly stuff for video game news, reviews, and more here on the GeekVerse Podcast Network. I'm your host, the Adam Hart drafter, Dylan Muss, and I have a full house with me today. First, the winner of last year's video game draft, Kirklin Patzer. How you doing tonight?
I'm feeling good. I feel like I have some sort of momentum coming into this draft because I'm victorious from the year previous. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm excited to get this going. Hopefully, I get some some winner's luck on the draft order pick or how we're doing that. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. We are also joined by, I think he got second place in the draft last year, the Tears of the Draftees, Travis Snell. How you doing?
I'm here, ready for the win. I'm not gonna get what Kirklin got last year, which is a fluke win. But
I think I have to tell.
Whipping out the banner.
I'm excited. Actually, on Sidequest, the banner looks really nice with that purple.
I love that
GeekVerse
purple.
is just black. What happened here? I don't know. But I'm very excited. Anytime we do drafts, they're like my favorite things. I've always said it's the podcasting chessmanship that we can do here. We don't get to compete in podcasts, but this is the one time. So I'm excited. There's lots of good games to pick from. So I'm excited to see people's strategies this year.
Definitely. And then we are also joined by, I think you maybe got third place. You at least beat me, but the draft of drafts, Taylor Field. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm very excited for this because I have a full-on new strategy for this time. Like, I did research leading up to this. I feel very confident. So
I'm excited to see that. Yeah, we're switching up some of the things in terms of the format of it, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Just a couple plugs. So obviously this is the 2023 video game draft. We're each going to pick 5 games, and then whoever has just the best Metacritic cumulative score at the end of the year wins. As I said, Kirkland won last year. But yeah, if you want to get more just discussions about 2023 games, we did the 2023 game preview a couple weeks ago, and then I went all out and I did a solo cast where I did my top 100 most anticipated games.
I thought it was a typo at first when I saw it published.
Not a typo. In an hour. I got through 100 games in an hour. I was kind of rifling them off, so not super in-depth conversations necessarily about each one, but I wanted to do that. So you can go check out those casts if you want some more discussions about these games, because we'll talk about the ones that we're drafting here, but there's a lot of games that won't end up getting picked. There's only 20 that will. We're also going to do a movie draft again at some point soon.
Yeah, you joining us this year, Dylan? You going to jump in there?
Definitely. When do we know when it's happening yet? Is that announced?
I think it's like in the next 3 weeks or something. Okay. It's so we got this. We got MCU Golden Geeks winner. We got it's like all like we said, all our pillars of our events or things we've created from our mind are happening this month. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got the Golden Geeks and all this stuff happening. So a lot of drafts and picking things is going on right now. It's always a good time of the year for that kind of thing. Make sure to check out our Patreon to get episodes early and ad free, and you can vote on some of those things as well. Join the Discord for conversation, and the Twitters, the Facebooks, Instagrams, TikToks. I don't know. We got it all. You can go check out all that stuff. Any shout outs from any of you guys? Anything from the week or anything going on you want to shout out?
I'd say, because it makes sense for the crossover video game-ness. Next Sunday, we will be starting our Last of Us weekly reviews. So we'll be starting that. That will be live after every episode. I don't even know the start time. I was meant to go look at that at some point. But
Hopefully 6. Hopefully nice.
No, it is early.
Late.
I just don't know if it's 5 or 6. I can't remember. But yeah, so we'll be reviewing that. So it's gonna be fun to be reviewing some video game TV shows. So
very cool. I'm excited for that as well. Okay, let's get into it. So here we go. The 2023 video game draft. Last year, we each picked 5 games. It was pretty simple. That was it. There was a couple things you couldn't pick, like ports of things. So it's like, okay, this came out on PS4, now it's coming out on PS5 or PC, whatever it is. I think we'll go with that. I think that's good to remove ports. I forget if we didn't allow remasters or remakes. Was that a thing? Because I think we should allow them. I don't think they're like a surefire like ratings necessarily. Like even like Last of Us Part 1 when that came out, that would be kind of a weird thing to draft, but it actually did get like lower reviews than the original, so it's not even like a free point generator. So I guess we'll go with that. And there's a couple big like high caliber remakes this year, so it'd be good to have those on the table. But I think maybe the biggest, I'm not going to say flaw, because Kirkland, you won fair and square. But Kirkland, if we take the average, like, because what we're doing here is you're picking 5 games and it's the Metacritic score, and you can also pick the version. So if you want to specify PC or Xbox, PlayStation, whatever it is, You can do that as well. But if we took the average scores of all of our games from last year, Kirkland, I think your average was actually the lowest, but you just had 5 games that came out, and that's what gave you that huge point lead over everyone else, and that gave you first place.
Fundamentals. We're going with the fundamental pick.
It was smart. You picked mostly games that were like coming out in the first half of the year, and so nothing got delayed. You had 5 games. No one else had 5 games, and so it didn't even matter because no matter what, unless they were getting like 20 out of 100, there was no chance you weren't going to win that. So very smart strategy, but we're going to change things up. We're going to add a repick system here. We were talking about this a little bit in our Discord, but we haven't figured it out yet. So we're going to figure it out right now. Where Taylor was saying, okay, let's say your game officially gets delayed, it's like July or something like that. Next time you're on Sidequest, you can come and repick a new game. We were talking about maybe I guess keeping it to things that were already announced or we already know about. I guess the example would be like, let's say your game gets delayed in August and now E3 has happened and there's a bunch of new stuff that you could pick that we wouldn't really know about right now as we're picking stuff. So I don't know, just what do you guys think about this, Kirkland? I don't think you weighed on this conversation, but do you feel like there's any limitations we should have on the repick system, or is it just when your game gets officially delayed, you can pick whatever you want at that point?
Yeah, Travis threw up the basically a deadline. If you're talking sports, like a trade deadline sort of situation, where if we get too late in the year and then your game ends up getting delayed, maybe in like the later months, then you're just like SOL because I don't know. We set up the time for something later on in the year. Obviously, we would have to discuss what that would look like in the month, and also like I don't know for the other one where. Like let's say your game gets delayed and then E3 happens and there is a bunch of announcements that like obviously none of us would have no information to like pull that from right now. I don't know, like part of me is like how many announcements would really be like all these games are coming out in November now. Like I feel like that's kind of a low.
Nintendo does that pretty often.
Yeah,
so like
that's
if they
fair.
come out here and like Odyssey 2 is coming out in November, it's like that's a pretty good thing
That's
to like
fair,
have the
yeah.
chance to scoop up, for example. So
I always
it
forget
could
about
happen, but
Nintendo.
I think I do agree with you that I don't really see it as an issue. I guess added caveat we should put on here is that you should be picking things tonight that are specifically announced for 2023. Like, for example, if I pick The Elder Scrolls 6, which is obviously not coming out this year, it's like at no point are they going to officially delay that either, right? Because it's not like it was ever announced for this year. So what? It would go through December 31st. The game obviously didn't come out, and like at that point I repick nothing because there's no games coming out on December 31st. So you know what I mean? Like I feel like the best thing here is that we all try and pick things genuinely that are 2023 and then but yeah, what do you I guess Travis, Taylor, what do you guys think? Is there any limits on repicks that you want to see here?
Well, I think the only thing that it is tricky because it is one of these things that okay, so if someone gets a game delayed and then they get to pick one, like you said, some people, us might be like, oh hey, we didn't get to pick a new one, and there could be let's say something like Surefire, like something I don't know what it is, but something gets announced and it's like maybe we thought it was gonna be 2024, but for some reason it's gonna happen like December 20th, and it's gonna be like let's say it was Elder Scrolls 6. It's not that, but let's just say it was, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like maybe people could have also an option of that's why I proposed the trade deadline of if they want to purposely drop one game, they could have like let's say there was because our 4th and 5 picks we might be getting down in the nitty gritty of games like we're like don't know if we're confident, but then what if there's like a slew of games coming out in October to December that like even something like Callisto Protocol, which obviously not the greatest example, but something that I feel like the date didn't get solidified till later on, and then it was actually coming out, and it was still a smaller game, but I don't think it was on any of our radars. There's games like that where I feel like there's a gray area of they've been announced, but we don't even know, even if they would be good 4 and 5. So I don't know if it would be something where if we wait until after E3 and Games Fest, then I would be down to do like another cast to get all 4 of us together to announce our picks, even if there was like another main topic, like do 2 topics. But that's what I would maybe propose. But I'm also still fine if you get delayed, you could just pick something in, that, or even if you're just no, that's about the same thing. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm kind of fine either way. But those are, I think, the few addendums that I propose. But either way, I think as adding games no matter what is a good idea. So there's more of a race. So I'm definitely down for that.
Okay. I think that's okay. Like if anything gets delayed, rather than going on Sidequest immediately and repicking something, we can just wait until that, like, whatever, July, August, whatever it is.
Yeah.
At that point we can all get back together or something
End
like
of
that.
August, right before
Yeah.
fall. That'd be.
And then
good.
we all
Like,
have an equal
yeah.
chance to get some of those things.
Yeah.
And then if, maybe we get there and all 20 of our games are still slated for the year, then we don't have to make any changes. We roll with it at that point.
Yeah.
That seems pretty good to me. What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, I think having that kind of like buffer period so that it kind of doesn't allow anyone to be singled out and advance ahead of other people from having an opportunity to kind of get their thoughts in there, the 2 cents, like, oh, like that's a game I would love to. What's cracking?
Was someone a ventriloquist? I swear I heard like the devil come from someone's house. Like, what? Was someone possessed?
I'm assuming it was a sneeze, but
That was
it
Madison
was.
sneezing in the other
Oh
room.
my god!
I didn't think you'd hear that.
Exorcism over there.
Someone was casting a
Yeah.
spell for sure.
Your mother's with the maggots. Continue. That just scared me.
I lost my train of thought, but yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
You were saying you didn't
sounds
want people
good.
to get too far advanced.
There you
But
go.
also-
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Sounds good. Okay, so we recently did a draft, and Maddie was in the Discord, like right after that. You guys should use the wheel. It's a lot more hype. I agree. Can someone find that wheel for me real quick, and we can get
I thought
the
he was
order?
gonna pull it up. Oh, let's see. He did put it out in the Discord. Someone.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, someone
Yeah.
pull it up, and then we'll
Someone
get the
screen
order of
share,
this
yeah.
thing. And then, we'll do snake draft as well. And no weird snake draft stuff like with our recent draft because
It worked out. It did work out in the end.
I'm fine. Just saying. I'm very excited to see. It sounds like everyone has a new strategy going into this. You have to adapt with this repick system potentially.
Of course. Yes.
So,
What's the status on the wheel?
Yeah, who's got the wheel?
Trying to find it.
He dropped
I
it
found
like
There was a
just
lot of
day
messages
ago.
today in the Discord.
There's
so
a lot of messages.
Got
Yeah,
buried
Maddie
a
was
little
selling you out about your Days of Future
Is this the
Past
same
or
one?
something like
I just googled.
This one
that. There you
works.
go.
Yeah.
That works. Yeah. Just us two. That's perfect. Me and Kirklin 1 and 2.
Our names were already on here for some reason. I don't know what happened.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's fucking
It's
weird. I'm questioning.
saved in your
Ta-
cookies?
I was
I'm
doing-
questioning
Oh, he just
Kirklin.
rolling it. Okay, who's gonna go first? Who's going first?
Okay, I like
Unintentional first pick.
All
right.
So we can
Oh
scrap that
no,
if we
yeah,
want.
it's unintentional. There you go.
Travis is number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got audio effects too. Yeah.
I don't hear those, but I see the fireworks.
Are we ready?
so I'll take it.
Who's next?
Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Boom.
Okay, wheels spinning. Taylor's yellow.
Oh,
Yes.
This is a biased wheel here, Kirkland. I don't like this.
Kirk number
Should
2.
have brought your own.
Yeah. If you found that link any quicker.
I know.
Okay. Taylor
Okay.
number 3 and I'm
Taylor,
last.
Third pick.
There you go.
I'm always last.
So we got
but it's
myself,
snake draft, so I'm okay with it.
Kirklin, Taylor, and Dylan. There we go.
Okay. Travis, why don't you kick it off right away? You get the very first pick, the cream of the crop here. What is the highest potential game here?
I gotta go for the juggler, and I feel like many people have it, but my nickname says it all. I gotta go for Tears of the Kingdom Zelda. There's no way I can't, and I'm pretty confident it's coming out because if it was because it's slated like March or April or something like that, right?
It's May. Yeah, May
It's
12th
May?
or
Okay.
something. Yeah.
If it was more like July, I'd be like, and even though it's 2 months, it's still like May gives me enough confidence that even if it gets delayed, it gets delayed to further into the year. If it was near the end of the summer, fall, I don't know if I'd be picking it because there's all that takes is 1 6-month delay and boom, I'm out. So I'm confident enough that this is going to hit next year. And even if it gets delayed, I think they could still get it in the fall, but I think it's going to happen. I think that Nintendo obviously has delays, but I think with the new date, they felt confident enough to put that out there pretty early. So I'm putting my faith in Nintendo, Zelda, Link, the horses, all of them. And I think this is a sure. This could be come down to the few little points. Tears of the Kingdom going to get there because obviously I agree with I didn't get to be on it, but the video game preview with Dylan, like it's gonna be hard to do that sequel. But I also just think that the people that like love video games love Zelda, so I feel like no matter what, it kind of always reviews well. So I think bare minimum is like an 80. Like I feel like there'd be no lower than an 80.
Yeah.
You know? So
It's been in development for like 6 years. So there's obviously something hidden that we don't know about yet. Like I don't have any. The question is, what is that like layer of it that's going to be special? But I don't think they've never really just phoned in a Zelda sequel, especially to what is maybe the best or biggest game in the series. So yeah, I think to me that was like the number 1 pick. No matter what, whoever got first, I would have been surprised if anyone didn't pick that. Honestly, so
yeah,
good pick.
I had to.
Kirklin Patzer.
All right. Yes, I'm. I'm gonna go for another big title here. I'm gonna go for the Wizarding World Hogwarts Legacy. That's gonna be my first pick.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my faith that, it just not only for my own sake because I want to be enjoying myself playing this game, but for the big score that the big Metacritic rating drop. So hopefully it's in the high 90s.
Interesting. I feel like this one's quite risky, actually. I'm quite surprised it got
too.
picked up right away. Just
Yeah.
with the track record of the studio, how ambitious this thing could be. I think what's on your side is that we have seen a lot of this game, gameplay, story, and all that stuff, and it seems like it's very solid. But yeah, pretty risky first round pick. But hey, you won last year, so who am I? I'm
He's
just some-
picking it because
I only got 2
February,
games come out
Dylan.
last year. I'm a chump. I know nothing.
It's out in February. That's why he's picking it. That's all.
Like
We don't
guaranteed
know.
points.
That's
what I'm
honestly a
going
good
for.
strategy. Yeah. Taylor Field.
Well, yeah.
Did
good
those guys
pick
snake
with
either of
Zelda.
your picks? Were you looking at those?
Hogwarts
had,
Legacy was one of my third lineup picks. So
okay. You had Breath of the Wild 2. Well, at the time, it was Breath of the Wild 2 on your list last year, I think. Got delayed.
yeah,
of
that
course.
was definitely a primary pick, but luckily I got secondaries and I got third picks here. So
Okay.
I am gonna go with my next primary pick of.
Fuck. Stars Hunters.
I'm gonna go with Street Fighter 6, specifically on PlayStation.
Okay.
That's a good pick.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
Kirkland,
guess
you
the
did get
versions is the
specific.
thing.
He's trying to cheat. Yeah. What version you picking? The Wii? Hogwarts Legacy. Some
I'll
GameCube
go-
action.
Yeah, you
I'll
get
go
to spin the
PlayStation
Wiimote
5. I'll go
Yeah.
PlayStation
PS5.
5. Yeah.
Okay.
And Taylor, is it only on PS5?
Nope, but I'm running tactically. I'm running with PS5 for this pick.
Okay. Do you want to explain why you're picking this as your number one?
I was doing some, obviously looking at the games for 2023, and I was doing some research, and I was just like, okay, let's look at the track record for Street Fighters, and there are a lot of positive ratings and scores on Metacritic, and I thought, okay, this is pretty good. So I started going a step up, and like, okay, what is it most well received in terms of console? And I thought, okay, this is interesting. A lot of people do prefer it on PC, but then PlayStation was the runner up for that. I was like, okay, let's do this.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. I had this on my list last year. It got delayed. They have recently reaffirmed that this game is coming out this year, though we don't know the date yet. I think it will, and I'm just going to go for it because it is also my heart pick. I'm going with Starfield. If you look at this studio's most recent release, the Metacritic's not great. It's Fallout 76. But I think this is going to be Bethesda coming back into form a little bit here. It's a fresh new IP. They've been working on it for a long time. They've got, a new console, some fresh, work on the engine side of things. I really think this is going to hit like Skyrim did or like Fallout 3 did. I think it's going to be that moment for Bethesda again. And even if it's not quite as high, I don't see this dropping like even below like an 85. I think this is like a pretty surefire like high rating. But what do you guys think about that? Is that you guys didn't pick it, so maybe there's a little bit of feeling on the edge about it.
It was on my list, but I figured that you were going to take it pretty highly, so I wasn't going to get it. But no, I think it's a good pick for sure. I think, especially because this is like the first new IP that Bethesda's done in a long time. That's going to really, I don't know, just have that big Skyrim effect like that you were tying in there. So I think it's a good pick.
It's interesting because I would have picked it. I have it lower though because I just feel like not like big thing, but I feel like every time, like every few weeks, something comes out and people be a bit more like disappointed. But I feel like with Bethesda, lots of like critics and whatnot there. I feel like Fallout 76 was standing. It gets rated pretty high, and I feel like they're pretty bulletproof. So I think it's a smart pick, but I'm wondering. I think it could. I could see it being in the 80s though. I really could. There's just a vibe about it, but I want to be that big day, like you described, like a Skyrim or a Fallout 3. So hopefully that happens.
Cool.
I'm happy you got this pick.
Wow, that is a very competitive thing to say. All right. With that, let's take our we got the first round through, so let's go to our first ad break. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Snake draft. I get another pick here. This is This is a tricky one. I was feeling pretty good about Starfield being my first round. Okay, I think I'm going to go with a remake to one of the maybe greatest games in its series, maybe one of the greatest games of all time. These remakes that they've done for their other games in the series have done really well. I'm going to go with Resident Evil 4.
Bastard.
Yeah,
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. Yeah, I think the last two remakes were I didn't see the Metacritic, but at least like the Steam ratings that I was seeing were like 9 out of 10. So if it's following that same path.
They were like game of the. I know at least two.
Yeah.
Resident
That
Evil 2
was
was
game
like
of
a
the year,
game
yeah.
of the year contender kind of thing.
And like I've heard some complaints about 3, but it's mostly just like it wasn't as long as what the second one was. Like it's
Right.
never
It's
about
almost
the
like that
quality of the
original
game.
game was just
Yeah.
not as good as 2, but like 4 is
Yeah,
kind of widely considered the best in the
Exactly,
series.
yeah.
So
it's a strong pick.
Yeah, no, good pick. It was on my list, so good pick.
Mr. Field, we're back to you.
I'm gonna go with Spider-Man 2.
No,
All right.
confidence
Mr.
going out.
Mr.
Nice
Sony
guy
head
over
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
I
Might
saw
be
the
getting that
trailer.
PS5. I heard
It said
that.
20. It said 2023 in that trailer, and that's good enough for me.
VR2. That's Taylor's next pick. PlayStation VR2.
Skull and Bones said 2027, and here we are. Or 2000,
There we are.
2017, and
2027. Fuck.
it will be though. It will
It's
be.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming in 4 years. The adventure you've been waiting for 10.
I know that's a very
Alright.
good pick. I think it's. I was actually looking at some of Insomniac stuff, and for some reason that the review scores actually weren't as high as I thought, but they're still like mid to high 80s. So it's like you can't go wrong with that. I forgot to mention Starfield. I'll go PC for Resident Evil 4. I'll go PS5 for my consoles versions
Taylor,
over there.
for Spider-Man, you're going to go, oh, wait, no, never mind.
PC actually.
PC in 2024.
You're going to pick PC?
2027 actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2027.
Whew. Spicy.
All right. I got 2 I could pick here. I'm gonna save the other one because I don't think you guys have it on your list, and that's a chance. That's a
Don't be
gamble.
so
That's
sure.
what these drafts are all about. So this is
Total
this is where-
Warhammer 4 or
Shame,
something
you
like
know
that.
your name.
This is where I get excited. I'm gonna go Diablo 4 here. Very, very excited for that game. For my own personal reasons, I'm excited to get in there. But also, I think Diablo 3, like it had some complaints with some people that are like super into like the hardcore dungeon crawler type games, but I think like still like it's just such a solid game. Like the barrier to entry is very low, meaning a lot of people can get their hands on it, and the longevity that Diablo 3 had makes me think that Diablo 4 will really just be received well. So I'm hoping it's over the 90 plus range. Like all
Good
my
pick.
picks, I'm going tonight.
Of course, you're hoping. Yeah. I hope this one's a 5, but the rest 90.
Well, I mean, Diablo's even like, we're going back to what made Diablo 2 great.
Yeah.
Is like kind of the big marketing thing. So it's like, okay, well, if Diablo 3 was already very well reviewed, and you're going back to what the series like veterans love, it feels like, yeah, it's set up for success, I would say. I mean, Blizzard's in a bit of a strange spot, I guess, but I think Diablo 4 will hit. I guess that's console at
I'll do
launch, I would assume.
PC.
So where are you going? You going PC?
I'll do PC for that one. Yeah,
Okay.
I think because I don't think Diablo 3 had console at launch, but I'm assuming this next one would. This next round.
List that's at it, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting pick because it was on the list, but it was lower just because with it being June, I think it's in that sweet spot of catastrophe could happen and it gets pushed to fall, and then one little thing it goes to the so
That's a buffer period though. If it gets, that's like it
Oh,
can
yeah.
handle one pushback.
But
At
yeah,
least.
exactly one pushback if you're looking like Cyberpunk, or something like that. So I hope you get that, but I have a theory that's Kirklin's games. That's not going to happen. That's my theory. It's going to be 2024. Yeah, early. They'll say like, it's January 1st, and Kirkland will be like, "You bastards!" It's going to be
That's first
December
half of the year, though.
31st.
That's a good. I don't know. I feel like I mean, I've already picked it, so there you go. I got my.
Oh
chips
yeah,
on
no.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you now, not before. So hey, you could be into
It's like it's like when you warned me about the Kit Harington.
Exactly right.
pick.
Paid off.
Then
He
it
became the
worked out.
Black Knight.
Yeah.
So I get 2.
Yeah.
Get a lot of damage here.
You really only had a strong reaction to RE4, so I feel like you still got some good stuff on your list that didn't get scooped up from our various picks there.
Oh, RE4. I thought you said RE Forest. I'm like, what the? Who drafted RE Forest? What's that
Let's say
game?
there's
You're like,
first
that was my pick.
Yeah, that's gonna be 100% any title like everyone gives it a 10. No, I'm gonna go for an early one because lots of pushback, and I'm gonna go on the remake side. I'm gonna go for Dead Space on the PS5. That's what I'm gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like there's some hype, and I feel like that could capture that. I know what you guys were talking. Not I know what you guys were talking about. I listened to it, and Dylan made a good point about like how this could rejuvenate the franchise. If that happens, though, you have to ensure that this is at least a good to great game or like a remake, right? If it just comes out and it flatlines, there's like they didn't spend the time or whatever reason, whatever list of reasons the game could be bad. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to take time to polish it, and I'm not expecting this one to be like super high, but I'm expecting this maybe to be like a solid like 80 plus again. That's kind of maybe some of the things I'm going with because I feel like some of those big titles you got good rewards, but the big swings could also miss, and then that's where it starts to tick down and stuff like that,
Well,
right? So
I think I feel like Callisto Protocol really underdelivered for a lot of people.
Yeah,
So that actually
that's what I
helps.
hear.
Like, okay, people were very fresh off that. They're like, this was not Dead Space. And if this comes out and is like even kind of matches what people remember, even if it doesn't go above, it's like they might just be, incentivized to give it a higher score, even subconsciously, just because they're like,
Yeah.
you know what, this matched my expectations, and sometimes that's all you want for a remake, right?
that's exactly what I was going to say is the disappointment of that might lead to people liking this even more. It might be a game that they play again later in the year and like, oh yeah, Dead Space was all right, but at the time like, oh no, this is the type of Dead Space game I was looking for. So that's the next pick, and now I'm really stuck between two right now. This is when it gets tricky here, but I'm gonna go Old Faithful here. I'm gonna go. Maybe it's a cheese pick, but you know what? Everyone allowed it, and I think it's still allowed. I'm looking at March. I'm looking at a little game coming to PC. Also, I didn't specify. I'll pick PS5 for Dead Space.
I think you did mention that, yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at a little game here coming out in March. It fits with what I talked about. I have a child named after it. I'm gonna be picking Last of Us on the PC coming out in March because that is not out yet.
The Last of Us?
Yeah,
Part 1.
Last of
It's
Us.
already out on
That's a
PlayStation.
port, so you can't pick a port.
Is it a port? What's a
Well-
remake versus a port?
Well, a port is
it's
like
not
The
on
Last of Us
PlayStation
Part
version.
1 came out in September, and it's coming to a separate platform.
Oh, they didn't. Oh,
Whereas
no.
Dead Space is like the remake is releasing.
You lose
in
your pick,
Jan.
Travis.
No, I'm mixing it up with.
Disqualified.
I'm mixing
You
it
could
up with
pick-
those rumors
you-
of The Last of Us remake.
I mean, you could
Damn it.
pick. You could pick factions too. Like
No,
there's
I
a
gotta,
chance that comes
no,
out. This
I'm
year,
not.
but
I'm not picking
that's-
factions. That's a really risky
Star Wars
one.
Hunters.
Oh, give me 1 second because I think I have my second one here. Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna go Octopath Traveler 2. That's what I'm gonna go with.
all
Yeah.
right.
I'm changing up a little bit. This is I've revealed my strategy. I only got 2 picks left, but that's what I'm more going for. Is the first game? I think it was just around like an 80, 83 or something like that. But I don't think it's gonna have a dramatic drop from that or anything. I feel like they got the system. The fans like it. The critics are gonna like it. Like I feel like if it has a drop, then I will be shocked and maybe I'll question the pick, but I feel like it's going to be more Octopath Traveler, which will at least guarantee me an 80 or higher. So that's kind of what I'm going with, and that's the one. So Octopath Traveler, I'm drafting it right now.
It's a decent pick. I like it. We're back over to Kirklin, your third pick.
All right. So if a game is in like early access right now, but it's supposed to fully release, does that count? Oh, I know we didn't really discuss that. But.
I guess the tricky thing with that is a game, if it's early access, might not have a Metacritic score, right?
Yeah, I guess so. So it
Like-
would when it fully releases.
Are you saying like things currently in early access and it might fully
Yeah.
release this
It's
year?
currently in. Easy for me to say. Currently in early access, and then it's set to release in August, like the full game.
That's interesting because you already kind of have like,
feeler.
opinions on the
Yeah.
game and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you, Taylor?
I'll pick something
Travis,
else.
How
if
do you guys
don't
feel
allow
about
it,
that?
I think the only thing that worries me is like the Metacritic score because I don't think it matters that the feelers are out because by the time it comes out, it could still not review the grades. It's just like, is it going to get a full score and when is it going to get a full score? But at the same time, maybe that's why I'll allow it because if he never gets a score, then that's one for me. So
Does it
allow
currently have a Metacritic?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, then I think it's okay because I feel like some games, I don't know what the deal is because even on like when I log into Marvel Snap on Steam, it's like tells me that's early access, but clearly that's released and has a Metacritic and everything. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm
All
okay
right.
with it. What do you think, Taylor? How do you feel?
I'm cool with it. If he wants to, dance around the fire and
Exactly.
let's do it.
All right, my third pick is third game in the series. I'm going Baldur's Gate 3, set to release
Interesting, okay.
in August 2023 on PC. That's my pick, and I've heard good things, at least from the murmurs from the people that have played it. But yeah, on Metacritic, you can look it up. It doesn't have a score yet, and
Cool.
I'm hoping that it at least comes out fully. But I think if it does, it'll definitely be up there, and I can't wait to get my hands on it as well. It's basically like a D&D game. So
It looks cool. That must be the one that you think none of us had, like, even on our list.
yeah,
eh?
yeah, exactly.
Never
Sounds
heard
good.
of it till now.
Yeah, Travis's reaction was what I was expecting.
Yeah, you take Baldur's Gate. You're not gonna pick Peaky Blinders, The King's Ransom, the VR game.
That's my last
Damn.
pick.
Okay, good. Good.
Taylor Field.
There's one pick on here that Taylor Field has to have. I'm gonna be very disappointed in him.
I am going to stamp in Pikmin 4.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one if it pans
I
out.
like that. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Any reasoning?
Taylor, do
behind
you want to explain?
Good track record
Speaks
again.
for
I
itself.
was looking into the history of the other Pikmin titles, and they just average really good green Metacritic scores. So
Good
I thought
green.
this is a safe play. I'm trying to adopt a little bit of like Kirklin. Your strategy last year again was to just go with the early releases because you knew they were locked, no real delays or anything like that. And I just feel like like I'm just gonna go with some heavy hitters here, but I feel like these are still relatively soon, but I feel like they're received well with previous iterations, and not anything like huge. Like last year, I was going big and bold, and I think I needed to like simmer down.
Oh,
a
so you're
little
taking
bit,
the
so-
strategy that I said, is what you're saying there. Yeah.
Spider-Man
No,
2,
no,
though.
this is my own strategy. I did some
What-
research.
What
and-
is Pikmin 4's date right now currently? Or
December
is it not
31st.
dated? Oh, fudge. It's right on that
imagine?
border. Yeah.
I
Actually
forget if it
comes
has a
out.
date. I think they might have just said spring.
Yeah.
I think it is definitely coming out in the first half
I
of the
agree.
year,
Just-
pre E3, and I think they want it maybe pre Tears of the Kingdom as well, perhaps.
Yeah, true. You never
Maybe
know.
a little runway for it.
Pikmin says something gets canceled. they
Potentially a
gotta
good
push
summer
something back.
game, so maybe they wait for there. I don't know.
Mhm.
All right. Good pick.
Okay, that was on my list. It was a bit lower down, but I think it's a good, solid pick. Okay, I got 2 picks here. The question is, are you guys gonna pick this one? I could risk it. I think I might save that one, and it could be a nice pocket 5.
Baldur's Gate 5.
Baldur's Gate 5. I'm gonna go with Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, you bastard!
Sounds like we all had that coming up next.
That was my next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was next on your guys' list. I guess I'll go with the. I think it might be PS5 exclusive. I'll pick that
It
version
is, yeah.
either way.
Yeah, I'll pick the Xbox version. No score, just tanks your thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Final Fantasy is just very consistent. They've been crushing it with the remake, which that remake part 2 might be coming out this year. I think they said winter, so you never know what that means. That could be December. It could be fucking March of next year. So that would be kind of a risky pick. But I think I feel pretty solid about this one. I just don't see it going below like 83, 84. I think it'll be at least higher than that. So maybe in the 90s. Who knows?
You never know. That Final Fantasy game last year didn't do well for me, so that was just like
That's
somewhere in
true,
the
but that
70s,
was
so.
like a weird spin-off,
I
where this is
know,
like the next mainline title. So I feel like
Yeah.
there's a bit of a difference in the tier there.
Mhm.
Okay, and then for my other pick, this is gonna be my second to last pick. Oh, the question is, what are you guys gonna take?
Because you got to think hard because you got a bunch of people gonna pick net like because it goes back
Mhm.
around like twice before it gets to you. So there's a lot of games
Yep.
that are gonna be swapped in this swiped.
Swiper, no swiping.
Swiper, no swiping.
Drop it.
Okay.
It was Dora threatening to shoot Swiper for the audio listener.
I could tell by the voice.
Hmm. I'm really on the edge here. There's so many ways I could go with this. I think there's. I don't think you guys maybe have this one high on your list, but I think it could easily get scooped up within the 6. I could be wrong about this, but I'm gonna go with Hellblade: Senua's Saga as my next pick. I don't truly know a ton about this one, but I feel like it's been in development for a long time. It really has that kind of even though it's an Xbox studio now, it has that kind of PlayStation Studios sort of quality to it in terms of the gameplay and the story focus. They've highlighted a lot about the story of this one in the trailers and whatnot. I think the next gen experience of it, or the current gen experience now of it, could help elevate it. I think that first one did pretty good as well. So yeah, I feel pretty decent about this one. So did any of you guys have this on your radar? I was thinking maybe it'd be a last round pick for some of you.
I was looking at it, but just still because it doesn't have like a date right yet. Like you're right, it has been in development for a bit, but just because I feel like we get spurts of they talk about a lot and then it goes radio silent for a while. So I think when it
I
comes
guess
out,
you're
it'll
right.
do well.
This was one of the games that they advertised when they showed off the Xbox Series X console.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's got to be ready soon. So I feel like it is coming out this year. It might be a second half of the year kind of game. So maybe it's a risky pick on my end, but I don't think this one's on PlayStation. So I'm just going to go with Series X on this one.
Okay.
The first Series X game on the list. We're not confident in the Microsoft console there.
Sorry,
There's
Phil. Yeah.
I'm confident. I love that thing. Let's go back to Taylor Field. What do you got here for your fourth pick? So far, you've picked sequels. You got a sixth, a second, and a fourth in a series. Are you going to keep that trend high?
Oh, we're doing another sequel. I am
Oh,
going
yeah.
with Forza Motorsport 6 on the Xbox.
Oh,
Again,
that's pretty smart,
Good
actually.
pick.
I didn't
Good
even think
pick.
about
I
that.
forgot
the other
about
one,
that,
oh,
yeah.
Travis has the prayer beads out.
Give me a win, my lord.
I think you had that on your list last year, Travis.
I did, but it was like a same thing, like a spin-off side title that I thought was like, or did it get delayed? Was it one of those two? I can't remember because it was like a different.
I don't think it
Forza
was
something.
delayed. I just don't think it ever got truly
Yeah.
announced, and
Yeah.
I don't think this one is either. But well, actually, this is probably part of the showcase when they said everything's coming out before June, right? So I think you're.
Taylor's
I think
like, oh shit.
I think it's
I gotta
coming out this
confirm.
year, Taylor.
Pretty
I
sure
would
it
say
Oh, you
you're
picked
pretty
it
safe.
now. You picked it.
Are you? I'm guessing this is PC or Xbox. Which version you going?
I was betting on Xbox.
Betting on Xbox. All right, Kirklin, Victor.
All right. For my fourth one here, I'm gonna go with a remake, a big cult classic for the hardcore stealth horror genre. I'm going
Oh,
System
sneaking.
Shock.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
System Shock remake. There's a lot of hype for this one from like the hardcore System Shock fans. I've never even played System Shock, but like just the ripples of the effect that it's had on the gaming community, I
Oh.
felt it, and I've been wanting to get in there.
Felt
and
it.
I like from the screenshots that I've seen, this looks really good. So I'm really hoping that it delivers for not only my own scores, but also all the hardcore System Shock fans out there that have really deserved this. So
I love that pick.
this one's
That's
for the
great.
people.
Well, I feel like a lot of people love that genre now too, whereas they didn't really even know it existed back when the
Yeah.
game originally came out. So I think it'll have a bigger audience this time, which could be good for review scores. Which version you picking? I don't actually know I don't actually know where this is going, and I'm sure
I
it's
just
going
saw it on
everything, but
Steam, so I'm going PC.
PC?
It'll probably go everywhere, I would imagine.
Sounds good. Travis, your last two picks. You have a smile on your face, so I'm guessing one of your picks is like still
I do.
up there, still standing.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the picks. I got four. I got a plethora of picks that it's more like what do I pick, and and I got two, and these are my last two, right? So I think one I'm gonna pick for sentimental reasons. I'm gonna pick just because I've been a champion of this game, and I hope it's gonna pan out. I'm gonna pick Replaced. I want it on there. It could screw me in the end, but you know what? It'd be a nice Cinderella story if this gets there, because I do think it could review well. Maybe I'm wrong. It comes out, it's crap. It's 54. So this is my riskiest one. There's so much on the board I could pick, but you know what? You gotta live dangerously. And then, you know, other people that live dangerous, Vampire Hunters, because that's why I'm gonna be taking Redfall.
Oh, that was on my list last year. Of course, it got delayed.
But it's
I
first
like it.
half of this year, and they got a good track record.
Yeah.
Their games usually review well, so yeah, I decided to tip my toes in the blood there. So I'm going with Redfall. I think it's a surefire. If Replaced is not a surefire pick, I think Redfall is another surefire, at least an 80 above. So
Yeah, we're doing the retro leading up to Redfall, so that's very exciting. I think that's a pretty solid one. I think Arcane, I don't think you'll get like you're not going below an 80, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll reach the 90s, but I think it's like a pretty solid, consistent one there. Which versions are you going for those two games?
I'll go with PC.
for both of them.
Yeah,
Is replaced.
No, oh yeah,
on PC.
no. So yeah, it is for replaced. I'll go Xbox. Redfall, I'll go PC.
Okay, sounds good.
Don't know why, but that's what I'm doing. I for some reason I don't know. I just feel like Redfall might feel better with the controller, and I don't know. And then, or sorry, other way around, where I replace where I don't know Redfall. Maybe there's some aspects of it that run a little bit smoother on there. So,
Cool. I like your list.
That's my list.
Kirklin, you have one more.
Oh,
Do you have a bunch of contenders still? Is it kind of like coming down to it?
sorta. Like I kind of had to go into my weeds here because like my
Really?
main core has all been picked away, and I don't know if I,
I
wanna
feel like
go
last year,
risky
the
here.
last round pick for everyone was like, okay, I guess I'll go with this. But I think this year is like, there's so much stuff.
I
That,
draft 5 more.
Skull and Bones is still available.
Yeah,
Kirkland.
Skull and Bones is so. I'm ready to draft it. You know.
I feel like part of me wants to go really aggressive on like a later game because we have some rules in play that could like you kind of have some room for error there. Or do I?
You gonna go with the Frontiers of Pandora?
Pandora.
Pandora.
he's
That's
giving
a
it to you on a
guarantee
silver
someone's gonna
platter,
grab it.
Kirkland. He's just handing it to
It's a
you.
guaranteed.
It's almost like he
60%
doesn't
right
want it.
That's a guaranteed 60%.
Guaranteed 60.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
60 or lower, guaranteed.
You know what? I think I'm gonna go to my RTS roots here. I'm gonna go for another Steam game. One that I think like might not over deliver. It might not be like a 90%er, but I'm confident I could be in the 80 plus. And I don't want to have one game that just completely bombs because I've just completely I don't know, just guessed wrong. So I'm gonna go for a little bit of a safe pick here. I think it's supposed to be coming out in March. I'm going Company of Heroes 3, which is World War
That's a
II
fake
RTS game. Company of Heroes 2, it reviewed pretty well. It's got a good fan base. So, and yeah, I'm rooting for the RTS.
I played the original back on my, family
Nice.
PC like 20 years ago. It was classic.
It's coming
So,
back,
yeah, I
Dylan.
guess
It's a
PC
good time
version.
to jump in.
You got the PC list over here, man.
Oh yeah.
Good time to jump in.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me know how it is, and then I'll see how it goes.
I'm not buying it. I'll just be looking at those Metacritics
Yeah.
scores.
You'll just be hitting up that Metacritic page. Taylor, you got one more pick. There's a couple things here. I'm very curious. He's got the list of
I
paper.
got the paper.
There's 2 games I'm surprised that will not be on his. Like, there's no way they could both be on there. So I'm very
Yeah.
surprised. So
Well, I feel like he's not going with his heart this year. I feel like he's going with the
Yeah, I
math of it,
guess so.
which I
I
totally
sold
respect.
myself out for the Metacritic scores.
Make it count. Take your time.
It's because a lot of my things have been picked off too. So I'm looking between 3 possible titles from my third lineup of picks.
do you have a
so-
4th lineup?
How many lineups is it on?
I do. That's the desperate. I didn't even label it as like 4th. I just labeled it as honorable mentions because I wasn't even going to touch upon these ones. But
You didn't have to dip into them,
It's
thankfully.
like, do not pick these games. That's
yeah,
what.
don't pick these.
Yeah.
Case of emergency. Oh god, this is
Oh, boy.
tough.
This is a tough one for Taylor. It's like his Xbox is on the line or something.
I feel like I should maybe go with my heart on this because it's telling me that I think it's gonna be a real good turnaround for the fan base.
I went with my heart last year and I got 4th place.
Let him go with his heart. I want to hear his heart.
I do want
Yeah,
to
I
hear
wanna
it too.
Shit.
Turn around for the fan base.
Okay, if I'm gonna go with my heart, I need to check one thing.
He's doing some
here.
research.
pulling up
What do you
the
guys think
calculator.
What do you guys think
He's pulling up
thinking
the
about?
calculator app. That's what he's doing. He's
I think
crunching
he's looking at a
numbers.
few Metacritic scores from the previous titles, and I think he's looking at an estimated of when the date is. So
He's on a
'cause he said-
randomizer wheel.
he's-
That's what he is.
he said
Spinning that, yeah.
because he said win the fans back. My theory is that they haven't reviewed the greatest, but they had one title that reviewed really well, and then the sequels were around. But he wanted to see like how low could it get? Like if it goes bad. That's what
And
he-
nothing on my list
You just
matches
see like
that
red
description.
shoot up in his.
Yeah, 3.
I think I'm gonna settle on Assassin's Creed Mirage. for
Oh, that
Xbox.
makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
That
I was worried, but like looking at the Metacritic score for Valhalla, it did 80s.
Those
so.
games have been doing great, haven't they? Last like
Yeah,
3
and I guess
It's
at
still bad.
launch it had that high score for Metacritic, but like I think like it's kind of gone down in its reception as more content's been released for the game.
Okay, yeah. They
But
diluted
initially
it a
at
bit.
launch, I think it's good. And again, Assassin's Creed Mirage, this game's just preaching that OG Assassin's Creed, like the first one with Altair, and then the second one, Assassin's Creed 2. So I just think that this is just gonna rekindle that flame with the fan base, and I think it's a safe pick. I feel better about that because I know what the other one Travis thought I was gonna pick, but I won't say it. I'll say it later when we get
There's
into
no
it.
left
After
to
I get
go,
my
you
fifth
can
pick,
say
we can
No, Dylan's gotta go.
let me get my fifth pick, and then we can break it down. Which version you going on that one, Taylor?
That'll be Xbox.
Assassin's Creed Mirage 3.
The game that killed the series.
They canceled the Japanese game, like everything. It takes Ubisoft down. No one buys it. No one plays it. Worst game ever. Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Worse than E.T.
I do think that is a solid pick. That was currently fourth on my remainders, so you know
damn.
there was a chance I would get to it, but did not quite get there. I can play with an open hand now because I'm the last one here. I was considering going Suicide Squad. I had that on my list last year. Rocksteady, I mean, you know, people have their thoughts about this new game in terms of the trailers and stuff, but like Rocksteady's games have reviewed very, very well in the past, and they've been working on this for a cool minute. So
The director's
considered
also
going with that
left,
again.
though, of the studio, so that could be a sign, right?
What's that?
The directors of Rocksteady also left during the middle of making of this game, so maybe they're like, you know what?
That's not a good sign.
Game fucking sucks.
I mean, to be fair, this game's been developed for like 10 years. At some point, it's like
Yeah.
we got to retire. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
is this game ever going to actually release? That's something we got to consider. I didn't think you guys would go for this one. Kind of an indie darling. Is the sequel coming out? I think it's definitely coming out this year, and I think it will review very, very well. I'm gonna go on Hollow Knight Silk Song as my final one.
Always forget about those nights, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez Louise. Still a lot of games on the board. I'm surprised. Lots of stuff coming out this year, you know?
There's games on there that are like big titles that I'm like, this could easily just be like a 60, and I don't know. I don't want to risk that.
Like Dead Island 2, Crime Boss.
Crime
Star
Boss.
Wars.
Suicide
Crime
Squad,
Boss is a
Star
huge
Wars, I'm
risk.
surprised. Oh,
Star
Crime
Wars.
Boss.
I don't trust Star Wars. I think
Jedi
Last
Fallen
game
Order?
reviewed well. I think it's going to be the exact same. It was definitely one of my picks as like a backup because I feel like it'll for sure at least be like the first one.
Well, what did I'm looking up the first one because I'm curious what it actually got.
I feel like they're like 82, 83, somewhere
I
in
think
there.
it's 79 for the PS4 version.
It's
I
bordering
need
on
at
that
least 80. I need at least 80.
Super Assassin's Creed 3.
Red.
That'll definitely be 80. I did have
Something like that,
Directive 8020. That was one of my other picks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He's like looking it up. We're all waiting. All it's like red on his face. Oh no.
You click on Mirage and the reviews come out, and it's just like the background's like hell. Like there's fire. Like it's so badly reviewed. The page is on fire. Like. I'm anticipating for Mirage now. I just wanted a tank just for the meme. So. Oh man.
How confident do you feel that's coming out this year, Taylor?
Mirage?
Mm-hmm.
Very confident. I think that, again, we
Been
skipped
2 years, right?
It's been 2 years, their 2 year quota, and I think as we close into the fall, that's when they're gonna drop. Because shit, that's like September, bro.
Well, and they love drop. Like, has an Assassin's Creed game ever not dropping in the fall?
No, it's
November
always
usually.
it's always
so I feel like
November. Yeah,
It's like if the game's not ready to go, even if it'd be ready in February, they're like, nope, we're waiting the next fall. We can't drop it any other time but fall.
Is it November yet? Then don't send that game out.
Which
But
I mean,
sir,
I think
that's
is
9 months
actually
away.
good for them this year because I'm sure things will get announced and we'll have a lot of stuff in that time. We always do, but so far it seems like a lot of the heavy hitters, at least like the first round picks on our list, were first half of the year or like summer at the latest. So
Yeah.
I think that actually is a pretty good time window for it.
We got burned last year, you know. We don't want to. We don't want to be too risky. Even Spider-Man 2, I think you'll get it, but I think it's still like a tad risky. But I think you'll get it at least.
I mean, they did say like a month ago that it's coming out in
Mhm.
September or fall or something. I don't think they said
it's
September,
like
but
September, yeah. Fall 2000.
it's still far away. But
It
I
is,
feel like
yeah.
Insomniac's output Insomniac's output is pretty insane. So that's
They might push the release date. Maybe they'll go like, yeah, we're advancing it. Any word on that Wolverine game, or is that like 2025?
well, it's after Spider-Man. So.
2027. Yeah.
So Spider-Man's gonna
Yes.
come out, same time as Skull and Bones. I was hoping Taylor was gonna pick Skull and Bones for the meme pick, but no, it's too.
There's no room for memes in the drafts anymore. I gotta hone in. I gotta get some wins.
Yeah, if we went up to 10, that's where you could throw the Skulls and Bones in there. But
Yeah.
that would be a lot.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah,
100 games though coming out. There'd be enough for 10. You know.
It's true. I still have 6 things on my list that didn't get picked and were a bit lower. I considered Fire Emblem, but something's sour about that one. I don't know how that's gonna go. I think it's gonna be worse than Three Houses, and I feel like that could be reflected in the score pretty heavily, where people are pretty bummed out by it.
Yeah.
That could be a thing.
I had Alan Wake 2 and Aliens Dark Descent on my honorable mentions list.
Aliens could be a good sleeper
Aliens.
pick.
Yeah, I was debating.
Yeah.
I feel like
Alan Wake
Alan
for
Wake
sure,
actually. Yeah. Well, Remedy just released Control as their last game, which was like Game of the Year.
Just
That's
this
pretty
year,
good.
though. I mean, I wouldn't have thought it's coming out 2023.
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, they threw that number on it, but I mean, it could always get delayed, of course.
Oh, did they throw that number? I didn't even know that. It's just so.
2023.
It was just like a cinematic teaser, though, right? There's been nothing else and stuff. Like I know
Yeah.
it's the sequel second. There's some things built already, but like, no, that'd be a great actual pick when it happens. I'm just not confident that one's gonna make it this year. So
That's
yeah.
fair. I also was considering Horizon Call of the Mountain, the VR Horizon game. I was like,
Oh, yeah?
that could easily get like mid 80s, potentially. If it seems like a pretty well made like VR game launch title for the VR 2. Maybe that system's really good, and that's kind of like the system seller sort of thing. It could be
Yeah,
a
I just don't
good one to go
follow
for.
VR enough to know, like, to get in that territory to know what's gonna hit and what's not. You know.
I know. I looked up like the game that I heard the biggest buzz, like VR game from last year, and it got like an 83 on Metacritic. So it's like, I don't know, people love this, but maybe I don't know how I don't know who's reviewing this VR stuff anyway. Like, who are these people at IGN that are doing this thing anyway?
No one picked Arc 2, the Vin Diesel dinosaur game. No Arc 2
Nope.
fans. Okay.
No Arc 2 for me.
I feel
Kirkland,
like
I'm
that'll be a
curious what else
40.
was on your list. I think you should share. I mean, we're gonna repick things in the summer, but things will
Is
have
it
changed.
gold?
I'm curious what other deep cuts you had on there, because like Company Heroes 3, that was quite the pick.
Yeah, that was a deep cut. I mean, I was deleting them as I was going along for the ones that you guys picked. So the ones that weren't listed on there, I mean, yeah, Assassin's Creed. That like Taylor took it before me, but that was gonna be my last one. Or no. Fuck no.
I don't think that makes sense.
That doesn't make sense at all. Assassin's Creed was on my list, but I was not going to take it because I went for a dark horse with Company of Heroes. I don't know. I was debating Jedi, but something in me is just thinking that it'll be a low 70s, and that's just not up to par.
Has
for
to
me.
hit 80.
It's got to be, yeah. I mean, 90 at least. Come on now. I'm going for the win. Other than that, like I would have just picked like a couple indies that I think would have just hit really well. Like there's that one skate game. I forget what it's called. Like Skate Story. It's
Skate Story, yep.
yeah, with like the neon lights and everything. I don't know what it is. It's just something in me. I'm like,
Looks
I
cool.
feel like this will be like an 80 plus, but I don't know. I wanted to go back to my roots with the heartfelt RTS pick, so that's the reason why I went with Company of Heroes there. But yeah, no, I was Resident Evil. I was like pretty confident I was gonna be able to sneak that one in there, so maybe I should have prioritized that a little bit higher. So yeah, I mean, all in all, I'm pretty happy with my list. I think I can see all of these doing decently well. I'm expecting big things from the titles like Baldur's Gate. Like I really think that should be like a 96 plus. Like I'm really banking on that one.
Travis, anything from you? Any games that were kind of right on the edge that you want to shout out?
Yeah, kind of like what I talked about before. Like I would have done Survivor if one of my ones got picked. I still kind of was thinking about getting Forspoken because I don't think that's gonna be the greatest. But that was gonna be one of those if I got nothing else. Again, like as I'm looking at the list, I'm surprised how much stuff is actually like out this year and stuff, and dated still early that we didn't pick. So that was one because I had it last year, so it'd been fun to carry it over. But I don't have good faith in that one. And then just other little ones. I don't think there's any big contenders I had that I haven't got picked. Like There's Dead Island 2 that I thought about as like a possible, like, again, low, like, last resort sort of deal and stuff like that. And then I wasn't really keeping my eyes on many, because I was looking over this list again. I wasn't keeping my eyes on much of the to be announced games, because I feel like that kind of screwed me last year. So, and I just look at this and I'm just like, when is Indiana Jones out? You know, because that got announced how long ago, and there's not been a single peep about it. But you would think this year, Final One, Harrison Ford's done, and we've not heard a single thing about that. You know,
That's true. That would actually be pretty good timing. I think when was Machine Games' last game release? It was like years ago at this point, right? 2019 maybe. So
what are they doing? It's been
Yeah, I
4
know.
years. Yeah,
they should get working on it.
But no, I'm happy with my list. I think the biggest one for me is Replace, that I probably could have, if I lose, it could be something like that where I should have went with Jedi Survivor, maybe more safer. But my hope is maybe Replace is like a big breakout, and then I can just roll in it.
Well, let's quickly recap. Travis, you want to rifle off your list real quick?
Yeah, sure. So my number 1 pick, Tears of the Kingdom. That's going to take me a long way right there. Number 2, Dead Space Remake on the PS5. Number 3, Octopath Traveler. Number 4, Replaced on the Xbox Series X, and Redfall PC. I feel like my list is almost like a Dylan list going on. I got Redfall, I got Octopath. What's going on here? You know, but
It
change
does
it
look.
up.
Yeah. Man, I feel like you and Kirkland both have very high risk, high reward lists. Where I actually, Taylor, I'm looking at yours. I'm like, that seems very consistent. But I don't know. Travis, Kirkland, your lists could just explode with some.
What's
very
my
high
biggest
scores.
risk here?
I just feel like Dead Space Remake, like that could get low. Like Octopath, Redfall could just like be simmering at like a clean 80, and Replaced, I really have no idea what it actually will review like. So I kind of feel like other than Zelda, there's.
I
Like,
think
there's
Octopath's
some
safe.
risk.
You don't think it's safe to be an 80 or higher? You don't think it's gonna be? They're not gonna repeat that formula?
Maybe like 8-0, like maybe just a clean 80
I'll
potentially.
take it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. The risk reward. Like, I do think yours do have potential. Of course, I always believe in Arcane as well with Redfall. But anyway, that's just at a glance. That's how I feel. But Kirk, do you want to rifle off your list here?
Yeah, so number 1, I went with Hogwarts Legacy. Number 2, Diablo 4. Hogwarts Legacy was on PlayStation 5, by the way. Diablo 4 on PC. Baldur's Gate 3 in my number 3 slot on PC. Number 4, System Shock Remake on PC. Holy crap, there's a lot of PC on this list. Number 5, Company of Heroes 3 on the PC. Yeah, definitely Hogwarts could be like iffy, but I'm willing. I'm putting it out into the universe. I just want like an 86 or something higher. I think that's very achievable just with what was shown. So, but I mean, a lot of people are going to be playing that game, which means a lot of Metacritic reviews, which means could be all over the place.
I don't know if this is a thing that reviewers like. Hopefully they, are looking at the game objectively. But a lot of people are pretty pissed at that world and JK right now. So I don't know if they would let that seep into their review score. Like, that is a possibility
Could happen.
potentially
The
for
bots.
some for some outlets. I don't know, just the way I've heard some people talk about this thing, they're pretty heated that it exists. So
Well, I hope they
They
don't
Hopefully
review
those
it.
people
Fuck
are
over
my
that
own-
Kirkland guy.
for my own case. Yeah.
It just read when he goes on Hogwarts.
Fuck. Diablo though, I'm pretty optimistic that'll hit really well out the gate and be a pretty high score. Baldur's Gate, same thing. System Shock, I have a lot more in me that's telling me that it'll be a lot more thumbs up than thumbs down.
I feel like it'll be
or
pretty good, yeah.
thumbs mid. Company of Heroes, that could be one where like it really
That's a
just
wild card.
sits. I don't know. I think that's it could be below 80. I'm really hoping that it just the niche market of players that are playing that just really love it and boost it up really high. And
Yeah, I mean, you think the people reviewing it will be people who are into that genre.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, like, how good is it within that genre? I don't know.
And like if it's a lot of people love the second one. If they're coming from that, hopefully it's not like they just change a lot of things and butcher the systems, which makes it like one of those games where a lot of people just go back to the second one because it's just unplayable or anything like that. That's my worst nightmare. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. So
Taylor Field, what's your list looking like?
Number 1, Street Fighter 6 on PS5, Spider-Man 2 PS5, Pikmin 4, Forza Motorsport on the Xbox, Assassin's Creed Mirage on the Xbox as well. I feel like it's pretty reliable, old faithful,
Old guard.
old guard. Yeah,
gonna go out on its own terms.
I am going on my own terms this time around.
Going
Yeah,
on my own terms.
I like these odds, and I think it's going to be very entertaining going along the next few months.
You said that in a very creepy way.
Yeah.
And my list is Starfield, Resident Evil 4 Remake, Final Fantasy 16, Hellblade Senua's Saga, and Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm feeling pretty good about my list. Is there anything on my list you guys think like that's a bad pick or a risky pick?
Honestly, the most one is Starfield. Just because I said
Wow,
Hellblade. Hellblade is the one where just for it coming
yeah.
out wise, but Starfield just because, like I said, I think it's gonna review well. I trust them, but there's always just like a back of my mind of like, what if, like, because like, and obviously it's still like reviewed good enough at the time, but like, there's always times for like a potential Cyberpunk where that still got overall good reviews, but it was like not the hit that everyone thought it was gonna be, and it happens all the time, right? I feel like we go a few years that doesn't happen. And there's always one big game where it becomes the new thing, and like that's what Cyberpunk is, and maybe Starfield could become the next Starfield, where it's like, oh yeah, that would have been great, but they didn't do this and yet da. So, but
It's a good point. I mean, there's even just an element with Bethesda games that they are usually so buggy at launch that could drop a review score, and that's where it's like, do you pick the console version? Do you pick the PC version? It's so hard to say because the quality, like I think the PS3 version of Skyrim was just like utter trash and like didn't
feel
work
like
at all. But then sometimes the PC versions are the ones that are just bugged out. So it's really hard to tell with that.
people just hand wave it so much to me because of the charm, but I wonder that would be the time. This is when you picked it. This will be the time where people go to town on the bugs. But it just seems like in the past, people just go, "Oh well, that's a Bethesda game." 8 out of 10, like it's just kind of fun.
It's a different, it's a different environment now after like post Cyberpunk world. Everything's different.
I'm surprised no one picked any games on the Stadia.
No.
That's officially dead, isn't it? The servers are shut off.
Is.
I don't think that's a great idea.
Like forced to pay people back. Because people have pre-ordered games that were supposed to come out.
It's pretty savage stuff. I also I feel like Hellblade to me is like exists in the exact same place in my head as Plague Tale, and I feel like that second one is kind of like, okay, building on this story, this very narrative focused game, kind of a shorter experience, also Xbox Game Pass sort of thing, more people are going to check it out than ever, and I don't know, I feel like I feel pretty solid about it, but I also have not played the first one yet, so I really kind of just speaking out of my ass on that one.
Yeah, that one I could see potentially just hovering around that 8 out of 10, so 80% or whatnot. Just because I think when I was looking into the first one, I had heard great things, but when I had actually checked out the scores, like it wasn't as high as I had expected it to be. I would have expected that game to be like over 9. I think it's somewhere, I don't know, like again, like it's not terrible, but just not as high as I would have expected it to be, and I don't know. I could see it possibly dropping a little bit lower than that first one was, but I don't really have a lot of, meat and potatoes for examples on why that is the case.
Yeah.
Just rice.
Just right. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I mean, this is going to get kicked off pretty soon. Dead Space later this month, Hogwarts Legacy, and then other things I'm sure next month. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of numbers here soon, and we'll be back in the summer on this one to check in, I guess, check in on those scores and also potentially repick if things have been delayed, and we'll have maybe some fresh things to pick from. So very excited for that, but thank you guys for joining me on somehow a short and sweet side quest, even though we had all 4 of us, but sometimes that just happens. We'll be back again next week. Me and Travis are going to be having a very Marvel-focused topic, so I know you GeekVerse listeners, you love that stuff, so we'll make a good one for you. And thank you so much for
shit
listening.
all over the Marvel games. It's always DC, Injustice, Batman.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, okay, we'll see everyone next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.